So I think along the way in our discussion, we've talked about some of the pitfalls that can arise. Here are a couple of my little aphoristic watchwords. When you're dealing with other people, with other partners while you're forming a company, you definitely want to trust them, but you also have to be a little wary. That's where the vesting agreement comes in. That's where the right of first refusal comes in. That's where getting it up front and making certain that you know who the CEO is going to be and how we have to elect that CEO in the future. So you want to trust, but you want to verify that the things that you've agreed to are enshrined somewhere. And that's also, it leads into get it in writing. People have selective memory, especially when money is involved. Trust me, it's just what happens. That's human nature. You don't want to, on the eve of taking in your $2 million of A-round investment, you don't, and you didn't have an agreement about vesting, for example. You'd also talked about it. You don't want someone to go, I never agreed to that. Or, oh no, I've got 50%. So get it in writing. The next one is, it's never too early. Because again, if you wait with selective memory, people will forget that they agreed. And this comes up all the time with young teams of people that are about to form a company, and they have been, talking about who owns what for months, and they've all agreed, and now it comes time. They've gone to some lawyer to draft up the papers, and all of a sudden people forget that they're only supposed to be 15% of the company, not 50% of the company, and so you want to get, so you don't want to begin, and the reason why it's important is, well, you've been operating now. You've been operating without a stockholders agreement, and now it's finally time. Now you're going to do it, but now there's a lot at stake. It's not just an idea, it's an actual, you've got a beta out there, you've got potential, you've got testers, you've got potential customers, now you've got a financer who's about to put money in, and you've got to get a capitalization table together that shows what everybody owns and how many shares this new financer is going to get for their $2 million. And your cap table's a mess because everybody forgets what they really own.
And working on this type of agreement is the last thing you want to do when you're about to
at that moment. Exactly. And that leads into the next one. Time is not your friend, right? Because on the eve of your closing, you do not want anything to get between you and that money that you're going to get at closing. And investors have lots of places to put their money. And if they're beginning, and they always will do due diligence on your company, and if they're doing some due diligence, and all of a sudden they come up to the cap table's a mess, no one knows what anybody owns, no one is agreeing as to what each one of them owns, that could be a showstopper. The venture fund could go, see you later, I'll come back when you guys have worked it all out among yourselves. I don't have the time to waste. I've got plenty of places to put my money, and I'm not going to put it here until I know that I've got a clean deal going in. So it's never too early to get these things straightened out. Time is not your friend. You don't want to delay your transactions. And my favorite is always get the best advisor that you can possibly afford. None of you, just like you don't believe that any one of you are fungible, your professional advisors are not fungible either. You really want that these things are not intuitive. All the things that we have talked about how you build a company and the kinds of things that are important for you when you're building a company are not intuitive. And the guy that represents your dad in his real estate business, and he may be a fantastic lawyer. He's a much better real estate lawyer than I am. But if he doesn't do these kinds of things, if he doesn't work with young companies, if he doesn't work with venture funds, if he doesn't really know how to develop a company from a legal standpoint from the ground up, because it's just not what he or she does, it's not the best advisor for you in what you're doing. So spend as much time picking your legal advisor, your accountant, and other professional advisors that you're going to be working with, the same amount of time as you take in picking your partners, because your professional advisors become your partners. That's just the way that it is. And you want someone who is your advisor to be invested in your in your future. And not everybody is. Not everybody that you might pick is going to have that kind of an attitude, and might not have the skill to be that great advisor for you and your company based on what your company is doing and the stage of life that your company finds itself. So, are there any questions?
All right, let's go to it. Wow. Thank you, Peter. I wish you'd given me this talk 4 years ago. I would have saved a lot of time and probably a lot of money had I known all this stuff that I had to learn the hard way. I remember Peter and I have had so many conversations about it. Explain to me again what the co-sale right is. So I hope you guys are taking notes over there. Peter's information is right here. He's excellent, as is his firm, so take note.